It's about that time to start ramping up for your fantasy football leagues. And I'm going to go ahead and give you some insight on who the top 5 sleeper running backs are, based on where they're projected to go in the draft and where I see them ranked at on PFF and ESPN.com. I'm going to start with how I'm looking at it. First of all, I'm a guy who picked Jonathan Taylor his rookie season. And I kind of got like a eye for who's gonna pop. And Jonathan Taylor helped me out. I won that league that year, and then the next year I grabbed Jonathan Taylor again, which was last year, and of course he helped me win that league as well. So it's some guys I got my eye on, but I kind of go unorthodox a little bit on how I pick running backs and what I think they're going to be able to do. So I'm a go based on my logic on Jonathan Taylor and what boxes he checked, and see if I can find other running backs that get close to that and check those same boxes, and so hopefully I can help people out with their draft choices. But here's how I was looking at running backs in fantasy. I like a guy that's first and foremost, you have to be a threat on the ground first and foremost. And if your threat is a receiver as well, that's just an added bonus. But sometimes you get these guys like Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry who are such a threat on the ground that they don't have to be equally as a threat like someone like CMC or Austin Eckler in the passing game. So the Derrick Henrys, the Jonathan Taylors, they their ground game is just so great. They only need a little bit in the receiving game. But Jonathan Taylor gives you enough receiving help out of the backfield where you can consider him a threat as well, even though I know the Colts use Naheem Hines in a lot of third down situations and a lot of passing situations. But you can still use Jonathan Taylor that way as well. But he checks all the boxes on the ground, and as a receiver, he's a threat. He's durable. So far so good. He's only going into his third year, so he hasn't hit that running back wall. The injury plague hasn't started bugging him like CMC, and he's not a small back like someone like Dalvin Cook. So you get Alvin Kamara, CMC, Dalvin Cook, these scat backs that are really good receivers and good on the ground as well, but they have those injury issues, and you don't have that with Jonathan Taylor. So the durability is there. His offensive line checks out. I want to say ESPN and PFF got the Colts offensive line ranked in the top 10. Double check me on that. They might be top 12. They might be number 12, but it's close enough to top 10 where I'm satisfied with that line. It was a great O-line last year anyway. So and then they got Matt Ryan this year, which is a quarterback who I think can counter a team putting 8 men in the box trying to stop Jonathan Taylor. So if your quarterback can make the defense pay, if he's smart enough, has the IQ high enough to check out of runs, or to do certain things when there's a blitz or where there's 8 men in box, if he can make you pay, that makes me feel comfortable that teams won't load up to stop the running back and hurt his fantasy numbers. And then last but not least, that there's no running back by committee when you're thinking about Jonathan Taylor. So these are the things I kind of look at to see if I can find other running backs around the league for that, and what boxes they check. So the first running back that I think is way too low as far as where he's going drafted is Saquon Barkley, right? Saquon Barkley, you got to take a chance on him. He's too good of a running back. Although he don't check all the boxes that Jonathan Taylor checks. I just think that this is a contract year for him. He's 2 years removed from the injury plague. I think if people have the optimism of thinking that CMC can bounce back as a smaller back, right, who physically probably can't last as much as Saquon Barkley can, then you got to be optimistic about Saquon Barkley returning and being able to be, free from injury. That's making him miss a lot of time this season. So they're ranking CMC number 2, right behind Jonathan Taylor at his position as a running back. So that shows me that everyone thinks that the injury bug is behind him. And why not think that for Saquon Barkley as well? So I see that the rankings for Saquon Barkley is around 26 overall. That got him going early 3rd round. And I think there's a good chance that you can go ahead and take Saquon in the 2nd round. I'm imagining if I get a top pick and I get one of these top running backs like Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, CMC, or maybe even Joe Mixon. And if I wanted to go running back 1st and 2nd round, I'm not mad if I come out of the 1st and 2nd round with Mixon running back 1 and Saquon Barkley running back 2. I'm not mad at all. It's even better if you can get him in your flex. That's it. That gives you way more security. But I'm just saying he might be worth taking a chance on. I think a lot of people are going to sleep on him this year. And as far as checking all the boxes, I mean, he checks 3 of them. I gave him a check for durability because I am being optimistic. I do think that Saquon Barkley won't have the injury issues this year. And I think that he's going to be super motivated, missing practically 2 seasons out of his early career, and then being in a contract year and wanting to prove himself and get paid. So don't have to worry about his backup. I don't see a running back by committee going on, and we know what he is as a back on the ground and as a receiver. I don't have that feel good about his offensive line though. However, PFF got them ranked number 18, so that's middle of the pack. But as long as they're not like dead last or second to last or the third from the last, those offensive lines are horrific. And I'd be surprised if those teams have a running back that can consistently give people fantasy points on a weekly basis. But that's a good possibility. When you're middle of the pack, you could overachieve, and maybe the offensive line just actually plays good. So it's some room for growth there with the line. Maybe that's a check, maybe it's not. But as of right now, I'm not going to give a check for a middle of the pack offensive line, but that's where he stack out at. So the number 2 running back that a lot of people are sleeping on is Miles Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. PFF has Philadelphia ranked as the number 1 offensive line coming into the season. Durability, I mean, the first 2 seasons he's missed some games. I think on average he's missing 3 or 4 games a year. But that's not a lot of cause for alarm. Offensive line is great. I trust Hurts as a quarterback. I'm not saying that Jalen Hurts is going to make you pay like an Aaron Rodgers would with his arm. He can, but he can also beat you with his legs as well. So I think that is a good counter to a decent running back with a good O-line. If you're trying to stop Sanders, there's some read option issues that's going to, that can cause some issues for your defense. So I think Jalen Hurts could, effectively counter a team trying to load up against Sanders. And then plus they just bought in good receiving help with A.J. Brown. And then, of course, you have Devontae Smith, who's emerging as a receiver. So he has weapons. And then even though Gainwell is a good back, a good fantasy back, he's a great receiver. He kind of reminds you of the Darren Sproles running back, but there's no running back by committee there as well. So he checks 4 out of the 5 boxes that I like to use for the running back. So Miles Sanders is another guy that I think you should take a look at. Number 3, this might surprise you for you Detroit fans, but DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift, he performed well last year. And I know that Jamal Williams from Green Bay, in his second season, I know he got some reps last year. and I know he looked pretty good. And I know you might think that he might steal some shine from DeAndre Swift, but I don't believe that. All right, so let's see what he checks off. Uh, he's good as a receiver, good on the ground. He's durable. The offensive line is surprisingly good for Detroit this year. PFF has them ranked number 3 behind the Cleveland Browns and the Philadelphia Eagles. So that improved line is going to help DeAndre Swift a lot. It's going to help Jared Goff a lot. And you might see some good things coming out of Detroit this year. And there's another sleeper running back that you might want to take a chance for that I think is going a little bit too far back in the draft. I think the presence of Jamal Williams is causing some pause for a lot of people, but I'm letting you know DeAndre Swift is going to be outstanding this year behind that offensive line and the improved Detroit Lions team. You might want to take a chance on him and take him a little bit earlier than what he's projected to go. Number 4, Damien Harris of the New England Patriots. Look, I know you have Stevenson as his backup, and Stevenson performed well, and Stevenson even got a lot of reps in the playoffs with New England. But Damien Harris is going to be a monster on fantasy. Just watch, right? As far as what he checks off on the boxes, of course, he's a threat on the ground, and as a receiver, they still have James White there, so I know they're going to use him a lot, but you can't sleep on Harris with that. He's durable. The offensive line is good for the New England Patriots. PFF has them ranked number 7 coming into the 2022 season. And I trust Bill Belichick and how he's molding Matt Jones as a quarterback, but I can't give him a check for the running back by committee because I do think that Stevenson and James White are going to get reps. And the way New England like to use their running backs, you never know. It could be week to week, one guy starting, and then the next week there's another guy starting. So now that's one thing to keep an eye on. But as far as where everyone got Damien Harris going in the draft, I think you can get some good value out of him by taking him, taking a chance on him a little bit earlier than most people are projecting. 78 is way too far back for this type of running back. So I could see myself taking a chance on him a little bit earlier. And last but not least, we got Cam Akers of the Super Bowl champions. I don't know why so many people are sleeping on him. Yes, he missed the whole season last year. Yes, the game he came back before the playoffs started. He wasn't, you can see the numbers right there. He had 5 carries and only 3 yards. So that's not promising. But when we seen him actually get back into game shape, he ran the ball very well in the playoffs, and he looked 100% healthy. I don't have an issue with him coming into the season. I think he'll be great. And then you got Matt Stafford there, and you just got Allen Robinson. Of course, Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in the game. Sean McVay is just a madman with calling plays. I think Cam Akers got a big season coming from ahead, and don't be surprised if he turns out to be a bit of what Todd Gurley was in his offense when he was in his prime and when he was performing very well. So, man, I like taking Cam Akers a little bit ahead of where he's projected to go, and trusting that he's healthy and going to be getting it done. Let's see all the boxes he check off. I didn't give him a check for his durability because, there are some reports out there that, coming off of Achilles, maybe it takes longer than, I don't know. Maybe, people got some concern with it, and okay, we'll give him an X for that, right? But everything else checks out. He's good on the ground, and he's a threat, two-way threat. The O-line is great. He don't really have a running back by committee there, and we trust his quarterback and his receiver combo. Enough said. So those are my top 5 sleeper running backs. They might not be the same as a lot of other people. I think the way most people do their sleeper running backs is they're looking for guys that are completely off the radar, rookies, and and things of that nature. Now, I'm just telling you based on where they're projected to go, you got a chance to go and get these guys a little earlier, while people are not really paying attention to them, and they can help you win your fantasy season this year. So let me know what you think in the comments. Check me out whenever I do my next video. Let's do the receivers next, and then I give you my top 5 sleeper receivers for that. All right, until next time, peace.